first ship to dock at Icy Strait Point that morning, and I wanted to get out ahead of the crowds and see absolutely everything. My first time to Icy Strait Point and the fourth stop on this 7-day northbound cruise on the Celebrity Summit. My plan was to take a shortcut through the forest on the free green tram, then take the red tram up to the top of Hoona Mountain, hike to the little valley on top, head back down, and then walk through the forest to the other side of Icy Strait Point, where the 1930s Hoona Packing Company salmon cannery was. I had purchased my red tram ticket through my cruise line excursion desk a couple days before that. Done with the green tram for the moment, I found the building where I had exchanged my cruise excursion ticket for a red tram passage. The biggest problem with my exploration plan for the day was the fact that I'm pretty terrified of heights. And from my pre-trip research, I knew the roughly 1,500 foot elevation gain coming up would leave around 1,000 feet of air under my feet for a big portion of the ride. So I tried to be brave. It helped that I had boarded before the crowds got there, and I had the tram all to myself. The ride was smooth, the tram was clean and spacious, and aside from a few jumpy moments when the cable guide passed the towers and made a sound, I was just fine. That being said, it is really, really high up. Aside from the self-guided forest hike here at the top of Hoona Mountain, this is also where the takeoff is for the Zip Rider, a 5,330 foot long zip line that drops over 1,300 feet in elevation. I'm pretty sure you can already guess that the Zip Rider was not going to be on my adventure schedule for that day. It is a separate ticket, and there are lockers in the building at the bottom of the red tram if you are one of those fearless adventurers who can brave a ride like that. Not me. It's important to mention here that this is a wild place, and there are bear. I consider myself an outdoors woman, and I live in a forest in the Pacific Northwest, but these bear aren't the spooky black bear that I'm used to. These, especially sows with cubs, can be deadly. I did speak to one of the Tlingit security scouts armed with a rifle who performs overwatch duties in the tree line of the valley, but I hope to avoid the bear issue entirely. As a solo hiker, I did kind of shadow a few groups, so I wasn't technically alone. I also had picked up a walking stick on the side of the trail, not that it would be useful in an actual bear encounter or attack. I basically just used it mostly to make myself feel better. The Mountaintop Valley was beautiful, and it was a peaceful break from the constant cruise ship activity. Don't get me wrong, I love the ships, but I love this, all of this, just as much. The out and back hike in total was probably 1.5 miles or 2 miles, some downhill and some uphill, but nothing too difficult. I turned around and headed back toward the red tram stop, enjoying the thickness of the forest and the quiet. I explored around the area, spending some time talking with a few people around a campfire, as well as looking out over the Chichagof Island and Icy Strait Point and the ship's dock below. Avoided any bear activity. If I survived the ride down in this tram, could get some coffee. Back on solid ground, I have to say that the red tram for me was scary just because of my issues with heights, which is weird since I spend a lot of time in airplanes at 33,000 feet. But everyone I met, working on the trams or on top of Hoona Mountain, were helpful, professional, and kind. I decided to walk back through the forest on the nature trail instead of taking the green tram back. There were already starting to be long lines at the trams, so if you come, get out here early to avoid that. Here are the zipliners going over.
I can see a sea of alpine green, something that will stay with me. Sky is wrapped in blue, wish that I could share with you, like a photograph.
I retraced my steps back to the main trail and found a kids' ropes activities course. I walked past this and the visitor center, and then I found the much photographed orca statue, and I spotted a bald eagle in the tree above it. I thought I had spotted a real orca out in the bay, but it turned out that it was a kayaker accompanying an ocean swimmer. I'm not kidding. And you know what? I have so many questions. Just how do you even decide to do that? After watching them for a little while, I made my way down the boardwalk to the old cannery building that has been remodeled. It was a mix of shops and historical displays, and it has some pretty interesting antique fish processing machinery and canning items. Outside of the cannery building is where you can get the shuttle into the town of Hoona, about a mile away, and there's also a big building where the native cultural presentations are performed. It was a beautiful day, and I'm glad I got to explore this new-to-me stop. There's a lot to see and do here, and like I mentioned before, all of the employees were just amazing. I think at this stop you could go all out on excursions, or just stretch your legs a bit. There's lots to look at, and even though there is a lot of ground to cover, at least on the cannery side, it's mostly flat and accessible for folks that might have wheelchairs. Heading back to the ship, I stumbled onto the landing area for the courageous zip rider participants. Sorry this video isn't the best, but you do get a good idea of what happens after the mile-plus long ride. As I walked back to the ship, I thought a lot about how interesting the stop was. I was just one of the 500,000 visitors that season, but there were times I felt like I might be the only one there, especially in the Mountaintop Valley. Hats off to the Hoona Totem Corporation, the Tlingit people, and the local community of Hoona for making me feel so welcome. I'll definitely be back, but I'm probably still not going to ride the zip rider.
I can see a sea